If it's at your place, great. If it's at someone else's place, arrive a little early so you can lay some stuff out. Or order some takeout or cook some dinner, whatever. Let's make a day out of this as a group get together. Make sure everyone's building characters together. The goal being, it's a team effort. I know that there's like secrets and backstories that people want. If this is your first time DMing, that doesn't matter. And because everyone is working together to make their characters, let the players tell you how they know each other in the game. Let them build together, give them a reason to be there, and now they're invested because they invented that reason. Don't overthink the expectations. Check in and be realistic. Let people know that you're new and this is going to be your first time DMing. Hey, if I mess up, I'll make a ruling in the moment and we'll just keep playing. I don't want to stop to just open books and add more time. I want us to have fun. I want us to keep playing. And if you guys know the rules better than me, wait for me to ask for help before you suggest rules for me to choose. Remember, you are the salesman of your game. It's all about hype. It's about getting your players excited to play the game. That's it. That's session 0. The players done more work than you have. But wait, you need an adventure. I'm going to assume for this video that you're going to run your first adventure on the same day or evening that is your session 0. So you got everyone together, they've made their characters together, everyone's hype, you're hyping it up, you're setting an expectation. Let's play D&D right now. If you have an adventure ready to go, great. There are plenty of adventures on the internet, in books, in movies. Hopefully you can take what I'm gonna say here, and this adventure just needs to be simple. Go here, stop the bad guys, avoid a trap, solve a puzzle, get the thing, slay the monsters, and get back to town. Since half of this get-together has been eating and bantering, we need to keep this as tight as possible for the rest of the day or rest of the evening. Let's say you only have another 2-3 hours to play an adventure. You want to stay on top of it. You don't want to take away fun, but you want to stay on top of it. No pantheon, no world building. Either someone hired the party, like some noble duke or princess or duchess, or the party's just heard about this thing and they want to go do it. If you have a cleric, quickly Google a god that is in D&D Pantheon that you can BS for the rest of the game. That's it. NPCs wise, you might need a king or duke or duchess, princess, whatever. So the noble was the one who hired them, and he's rich. That's one NPC. Once everyone's ready, lit a candle, set up the whole intro. They talk to this noble, they got this job, and they're off to their destination. And now we start playing. Let's get some dice moving. Let's start with a survival group skill check. Because it's the top of the adventure, the failures can't be like high stakes. Describe how hard it's getting. It starts to rain. It's kind of just like a prologue mini game, just to get dice moving, people thinking and imagining right away. Boop. What is a group skill check? Everyone rolls a d20. You need to have a DC. 10 will be fine. As long as half or more roll above the DC, they succeed. Now you made it to the dungeon. Or maybe it's a ruined castle, a secret lair, haunted mansion. It could be whatever you want it to be. It is the place. When they get to the destination, the dungeon, there are guards posted out there. The party has their simple combat, their simple fight. What makes it simple? Either they're easier to kill and they're gonna wipe the floor with them, or it's a creature or the creatures run away. One of the two outcomes are most likely to happen. When should they probably die, or when do they run away? So that way this is a quick combat. Don't go longer than 3 rounds. 1 round's a little short, maybe 2 rounds is good. That's a good way to think about it. Once they get through the front door, they get in the dungeon, the castle, the haunted mansion, whatever. Salt the meat. This is your time to prepare for the dinner that is the finale. Play with perception, the senses. What does it smell like? What do they hear? Do they hear footsteps coming? What do they see? Can they see anything? Do they need to light a torch? Will lighting a torch give too much light for other people to notice them? Set this like eerie survival horror energy, this spooky energy. And very quickly, once you get in the first room, decorate it as you like. Make sure there's a little bit of cover, like holes in the walls, fence, some statues to hide behind. A handful of orcs run into the room. They heard some commotion out front, so they come in. Everyone needs to hide. Let's roll some stealth checks and hide. Does it go well? Does it not? This is very important. Maybe instead of failing when they roll too low, because it's just the beginning of the adventure, they roll too low, the orc stops, smells them, looks for them. Give the other players a chance to distract him and throw him off the scent, you know? That classic movie moment where the bad guy is lurking closer and closer until, what was that? Let's get back out front. The point being, build tension, build expectation. You just got done fighting a couple of these guys outside. Now there's twice as many, and you haven't healed, you haven't rested. So it's bad news bears if you get in a fight right now. Building that tension and that mood and that feeling will help. And now the players have bought in. They've rolled dice to travel, they feel like they're exploring. They've rolled dice to fight, they feel like they're heroes. Now they're diving into a dungeon, and they hid from the baddies. They know who the baddies are, they just got away. They are adventurers now. Hey, maybe they rolled a nat 1. They had to start a fight. If they start a fight in this room, make sure there's an exit for them to run and lock these orcs into the front room. I know that's kind of like setting up the solution to an encounter or a problem, but sometimes it's important for you as the dungeon master, especially if this is your first time, to have a couple of ideas on how you would solve this problem. Allow the players to solve the problem their own way, but if they ask for investigation, perception, how do we get out of here? What can I do over here? There's a vent, there's a door, there's a grate, there's a secret passage, there's a set of stairs. And if they go through that way, they're like, what do we do? What do we do? You can ask them, roll this, roll that, and you can offer hints, possible ideas. Don't tell them what to do, but give them ideas if they're stuck or scared or trapped in the anxiety, which is a good thing too. Let's just assume the players have gotten away from these orcs. Do what you feel is necessary in the moment at this point, because we're getting into less clear pathways, because it can go more and more ways that the longer we go through this imaginary dungeon. At this point, toss a puzzle out, an easy puzzle, just a simple puzzle. Why? Because they're players, and players are never going to solve the puzzle. In our Egypt's Fire game, Tommy, the DM, had a great puzzle, probably my favorite D&D puzzle so far. Wordle. It's Hangman, right? You have to figure out the phrase, and then they say the phrase to get through. So simple. We use dryer pins to label where the names are. Go check it out. We put a yellow tag on letters that belong in the phrase but are in the wrong slot. A green tag if the letter is in the right spot in that phrase. If it doesn't belong in there, you take it out. And we have to slowly put together the phrase. It's a great group activity to bring it together because it's something that everyone can do. Spell. So there's the Wordle secret phrase, there's a hidden passage with a skill check to find, pit trap in the floor, locked door to unlock, health potions to find, some sleeping guards to kill. That's a good one. Maybe a secret room to take a long rest if they overexpend themselves. Hey, at this point, it might be not that bad of an idea. First try spaces where a short rest can help. They can just get some of their HP back. They can get some of their abilities back. This is important to know that spellcasters, this is where the earlier part of the evening was important, setting expectations. Don't spend all your spell slots right away. You might need to use them later on. Maybe if they want to take a long rest at a certain point in the dungeon, they have to all succeed on a group skill challenge for survival. That way, they all work together, they all succeed, and they find a spot for a long rest. So long rest is not off the table, it's possible, but it's difficult. So all of these are things that you can have happen. The door is locked, they can't pick it, the DC is way too high, like DC 35. They have to go find the key. They go to some rooms, they fight some guards, they sneak by some guards, they fight a monster that's locked up because it's guarding the keys. At this point, I would use the analogy that a dungeon master is a pilot of an airplane. It's very important to be focused and have a lot of ideas and plans for the takeoff. Once you level out in the sky and start just cruising, you're kind of on autopilot and you're reacting to player ideas, you're giving them back. That's why there's a lot of like make up the dungeon tools as you go out there. This is where you can just grab a free map on the internet. Your players won't know. Maybe you don't even need to print out the map. You just keep it behind the screen so you kind of have an architectural idea of where everything is. But once you get to the point where the plane needs to land, you have to get off autopilot and take control of the steering wheel. Is it a steering wheel? Have one final showdown in a very special room, a room that matters to the idea of this space. If you're playing with minis during this, get a cool 2 or 3 inch base monster. You don't have to go out and buy an expensive WizKids mini. Get a $1 toy from the dollar store. Get something that represents the monster. If you do have WizKids, like myself, toss a freaking dragon in the room. If you're in the tundra, put a big old Yeti in the room. Or if you're in the forest, put a big old tree ant. Something big. And if you're not playing with minis and you're just doing theater of the mind, make sure you describe the scale. Don't start counting feet. Use analogies. A stadium, the size of a library, the size of an auditorium, size of a parking lot. Simple stuff like that. You're describing the space. The size of a cathedral. Oh, wow. Pick big places that you've been. And then the monster, the size of an elephant, the size of a rhino, the size of a minivan, a bus, 2 stories tall, 3 stories tall. Its arm is 10 feet long, like the length of a car. These analogies are how we, in real life, measure things visually. They are common things that we know and interact with. Use these cheat codes for your first time DMing. Whatever you do, your big final boss baddie should be guarding something important. The thing that they came here for, the thing that they were paid to get, the person. Maybe it's the item that everyone has come and failed. You can see the bones of previous adventurers who have failed to get it, to get past the dragon. This is what you're going to be spending the rest of the night on. The rest of the night should be dedicated to the players defeating this monster and getting that item. That's it. If you drop a player, so be it. The player goes down, that's totally fine. They made it to the end and it's exciting. Before they kill the dragon and there's no more threats and they get the item and we could just banter for the rest of the night. Keep the energy up. Keep the stakes going. This is how you want your friends to leave the night and go, wow, what a great game. Maybe the dragon can't be killed. You can start asking players to roll insight, medicine, survival, just to notice that maybe they should grab the item as a team and dodge the dragon and get out. This is a great way to keep the stakes up. Maybe if they do kill the dragon, you kill the dragon prematurely. So that way, we only got 1 more hour of the game. I'll kill the dragon 30 minutes in the game. That gives me 30 more minutes to wrap up the game. They get the item. Indiana Jones this. The moment they grab that item, the place is coming down. It is the end of this space. It's falling apart. They have to run or die. End this game just like you started it. Group survival skill challenge. If the dragon doesn't die, if you go that route, the dragon chases them out, and that skill challenge, still the same thing. Survival. It's the first thing you do. And at this point, if the players have been paying attention and they've been having a good time, they're going to start going, well, I want to use my acrobatics because I'm really good with that. I want to use this instead. I want to do that. Let them do it, because the moment they're participating is the moment that they're having fun. Maybe if they roll a bad roll, dragon or a rock comes down to crush them. Some orcs that were earlier in the dungeon come running out of the corner and they get hit instead. Close call. What would make this moment even more amazing? Get a little 3-5 minute timer. Sand particularly, because they can just watch it go down and they have to get out before the sand runs out. They stop to talk, they start to banter. If you guys do not get out of the dungeon by the time the sand is out, the characters die. They get out, they'll cheer, they'll have fun. Literally, it would be a great game night. And then you can narratively say, and you guys, on your walk back You rest, you heal, you recover, you get back, you deliver the goods. You guys get rewarded with your gold. Or they might say, what is on this thing? Like, is there something special? Maybe there's a special like code or poem or prophecy. Read the prophecy. Set a hook. What makes a good hook is introducing a new threat, place, or person. Maybe the players will then go, well, instead of returning this to the king, if we're all down to come back together next week, maybe we can figure out where this goes. You're gonna start DMing more than just a one-time game because you focused on a simple adventure with a clear goal. You gave players agency, you had a good takeoff, you had a good landing. Instead of this adventure, maybe you use the module, the starter kits. They're great for this stuff. The rules, you didn't need to know every single rule in the book. Just have a list on your DM screen of all the skills that everyone could roll. Make a list of all the magic type. Use the DM screen to cover some of the basics that you don't even have memorized. Everything beyond that, make a ruling. You don't need rules, you need to make rulings. That's how you keep the game moving. When it comes to roleplay, you don't need to ask a lot for your first time DMing. Narration really matters more. Narrate your choices as the DM and have the players narrate their choices. Attacks, hits, misses, opening doors, narrate that stuff. And yes, misses. If you roll a natural 1, most people will just go, and the point of D&D is to make something interesting out of presenting ideas. What is your idea of rolling a natural 1? Is it giving up playing the game, not participating? If it's hard and you roll a nat 1 and you're like, have a fumble table. A D20 or a D6, D8, whatever. If they roll and that is a narrative flavor or texture that you can add to that roll and make it exciting. Learn how to let go. Once you take off the plane, that intro is all you and you're pushing everyone up. You gotta let your players be running the show, kind of. A little bit. You guide them, you offer them obstacles for them to overcome with the abilities that they have. Don't overdo it. And don't take away their agency. Their ability to choose whether to do something or not. That's why as a DM, I hardly ever demand to roll initiative. I wait till the players start the fight. How do you practically let players keep their agency? Don't solve their problems for them. And play yes and. They come up with an idea, find a way to say, yes, that works. And this happened. I know there's a lot of people that say, yes, but, which I'm a fan of, or no, but, which I'm not a fan of. This is your first time DMing. You've probably watched 1,000 videos. You're probably trying to prepare and you're trying to make sure you don't stress yourself out. And I know I'm adding a lot of things to the palette and you might not know what to do. You'll be fine. You're gonna do great. It's just a game. You get that plane off the ground and you land it and end that game where everyone has a smile on their face. If no one has a smile on their face, then screw them. Are you going to crash the plane? There is a high chance of crashing the plane. Just try not to. That's it. Final tips. Take a 10-minute break every hour or something to go to the bathroom. And while you're in the bathroom, think about what they did and prepare a little bit more. Subscribe if you haven't. I have a Patreon that helps support the channel, or you can join the channel by pressing the join button and support the channel monthly.